I don't even know where to start because there's no justifying any of this. I, 28F, have been married for a little over a year, and I've systematically destroyed my marriage with a series of selfish, reckless choices. Now everything is crashing down, and I don't know how to move forward. The beginning of it all was an emotional affair with a coworker, in the form of texting. Nothing physical at first, just flirty messages that I knew crossed a line, but I told myself it wasn't real cheating. That was a lie. I was emotionally invested, sneaking around, hiding things from my husband. I knew what I was doing was wrong. Then 3 months after our wedding, my husband was out of town for 3 days for his grandma's funeral, and I made it physical, just once. Immediately afterward, I panicked, told myself I could never do it again, and cut it off. For a while, I convinced myself that it was over, that it had been a horrible mistake but one I could bury and move past. But 6 months later, the co-worker and I started texting again, and I let things get out of control. We got physical again. This time, it wasn't a one-off. It became an ongoing thing. I don't even know why I let it happen again. I kept telling myself I was in control, that it wasn't that bad, that as long as my husband didn't know, I could compartmentalize it. Looking back, I can't believe how deep in denial I was. Around that time, another incident happened. During a friend's bachelorette party, I had a one-night stand with a random guy I met. No excuses. I drank too much, made another terrible choice, and woke up realizing I had no idea who I was anymore. I swore to myself that I was done, that I could stop it all if I wanted to, but the coworker thing still continued for a while before I finally put an end to it. And now I'm 6 weeks pregnant, and I don't know who the father is. My husband, my coworker, or the ONS guy. It could be any of them. I've completely trapped myself in the worst possible nightmare because I wasn't just cheating emotionally or physically. I was reckless and didn't bother about protection. My husband found text between me and the coworker a few days ago. He doesn't know everything yet, just that it was emotional, but even that has already crushed him. He looks at me like he doesn't even recognize me, and I feel like I've completely shattered him. I'm struggling with the fact that I might have to tell him everything. I know he deserves to know the full truth. But won't that make everything worse? Do I just drop everything on him at once? Do I let him process the emotional betrayal first before hitting him with the rest? How do I tell my husband that not only did I cheat repeatedly, but that I'm pregnant and he might not even be the father? No matter how I do it, it's going to wreck him. And honestly, I don't even know how to process this myself. I've spent so much time compartmentalizing, making excuses, pushing down my guilt. Now it's all hitting me at once, and I feel like I can't breathe. I don't even recognize myself. My husband is a good man. He didn't deserve any of this. I don't even know why I did it. It wasn't like I was miserable in my marriage. He loved me. He trusted me. Why did I even do this to myself? Edit. My husband has expressed wanting to be financially stable before starting a family, so he's been very strict about contraceptives. I know they fail, but I fear it'll set off warning bells. Update, I told him everything, and now I'm completely alone. I wasn't even going to tell him. That was the plan. Keep the physical aspect buried, let him believe it was just emotional, and try to move forward. My pregnancy is shaping up to be super hard. I needed him. I couldn't afford to lose him, both emotionally and financially. So I swore to sweep that under the rug. Maybe that makes me a coward, but I thought if I could keep the worst of it hidden, it would stop everything from completely imploding. But maybe it was hormones or guilt, or just the weight of it all crushing me. I don't even know. One morning, I just broke down and told him. I admitted everything. Every disgusting detail I had, tried to forget myself. And he lost it. I have never seen him like that. I never thought he'd raise his voice at me, considering my delicate state. But he called me a lot of disgusting things, a lot of slangs. He wouldn't even let me get a word out, wouldn't let me try to explain anything. Not that there's a justification, but he didn't want to hear anything. Just anger, disgust, disbelief. And then he left. That was 2 days ago. I haven't heard from him since. But his family, well, they keep calling. His mom called me sobbing, screaming that I ruined her son's life, that I should be ashamed to even call myself his wife. His brother told me to do the right thing and leave him alone for good. His sister said I should pray this baby isn't his, because if it is, he'll never forgive me. They've called me everything under the sun: hoe, liar, homewrecker. Maybe that's what I am, but it doesn't stop the pain of hearing it over and over again, especially now, when I'm pregnant and completely alone. I can take it all this lashing, but the one thing I'm falling apart about is he just left me here, alone. I get that he's hurting. I know I shattered his world, but he left me here in this house, pregnant, falling apart, while his entire family rips into me. I'm in the most vulnerable, terrifying position of my life, and he just walked away. No matter how much I screwed up, I never thought he'd abandon me like this. I don't know what happens next. I don't even know if he's coming back, or if I'll only hear from him, or if he will file for divorce. But the waiting is unbearable. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I just sit here in this empty house, alone, drowning in the mess I made. Final update. It's been 3 months since everything fell apart, and I'm finally writing this to close things out. I don't even know how to put into words how much I've lost. After I told my husband about the baby, he demanded a paternity test right away. He said he needed to know the truth before he could decide what to do. I begged him not to. I begged him to look past my mistakes and focus on the life we'd built, to not punish this child for what I had done. I kept telling him that we could move forward, that we could raise the baby together, that this didn't have to destroy us, but he didn't want to hear it. For weeks, I refused to take the test. I kept hoping I could somehow convince him to stay, to let this go, to work on us. But he wouldn't let it go. He kept saying he needed to know, and that he couldn't even begin to think about moving forward until he had the truth. When he got a lawyer involved and sent me official papers demanding the test, I had no choice. I finally did it, and the results came back. The baby isn't his, of course. After that, everything happened so fast. He filed for divorce the same day he got the results. He didn't even tell me directly. His lawyer did. He completely cut me off. He moved out of our apartment and hasn't said a word to me since. He hasn't paid rent or bills since he left, and now I'm struggling just to keep the lights on. His family has made everything even harder. They've been relentless. They call me names, tell me how much I ruined his life, say I'm a selfish, horrible person. They've called, texted, even come to the apartment to yell at me. I've tried to block them, but they always find a way to get through. It's like I can't escape their anger, and I can't blame them for feeling this way. I'm still in the apartment we shared, but it feels like a shell of what it used to be. I'm alone, drowning in bills, with this baby on the way. I keep wondering how I'm going to give this child a good life when I can barely take care of myself. I'm heartbroken, I'm exhausted, and I'm scared. I wish I had something hopeful to end this with, but I don't. I don't know what's next. All I know is that I have to figure it out, for me and for this baby. But I'll never forget what I did. I'll never stop regretting it. I just hope one day I can forgive myself, even if no one else ever will. I love this baby, and I'll do whatever it takes to give them a good life, even if I have to do it completely alone. Edit: no, I have not contacted my coworker or the guy I had my ONS with. I don't even know who the guy from ONS even is. All I got was a first name. My coworker is married and has 3 kids, so I don't know how to approach the situation with him either. He has certainly gone low contact with me ever since he realized I am pregnant.